Everybody, welcome to Sofra Bakery. We're in Cambridge, Mass. We're going to be making chocolate chunk cookies today. We started making them with some fresh whole wheat flour that we get from Main Grains. We started a few months ago. We changed this recipe completely to use a combination of whole wheat from Main Grains and rye from Main Grains. I love the rye in a chocolate chunk cookie. It's just a small percentage, maybe like 15%, and it really adds texture and nuttiness. And ever since we made this change, I feel it's really elevated this cookie a lot. It has taken it to where you can actually taste chocolate more, and you can taste wheat. You know, it's not a chocolate chunk cookie there's a lot of delicious ones out there, but I want to be able to taste, you notice the difference when you can taste the wheat. I feel every pastry chef has their own version of a chocolate chunk cookie that they work tirelessly on until they get it right. The same with this cookie. I feel we have worked tirelessly on this one, and it's right where we want it. It's almost the same proportion of flour to chocolate. The one thing we do with this cookie is one way we break the rules is we use cold butter instead of room temperature butter. I find if you chunk your butter pretty small, then you'll have, like this small, we'll have room temperature butter in just a few spins of the paddle, you know. So I have combined both sugars, the brown sugar and the white sugar. So I'm gonna start creaming the butter, and I'm gonna put it on like a medium speed. This will take about 5 minutes for this size batch. One thing that's super important for this recipe and any creaming process is to scrape your bowl often. So as soon as I see that a lot of the sugar has been incorporated, I'm gonna stop and scrape. You don't want any streaks of butter in your cookie, because then it will just not hold its shape and spread randomly. So I'm going to keep going here. I also have the dry ingredients here. If you take a peek at the flour, you can see the color and the texture. It's like super fresh. And this is our chocolate that we use. We use Cho extra bittersweet chocolate, and we chop it all up. So here's the flour. This is already combined, the rye and the whole wheat, and it's very powdery. So I'm also going to switch back over here to see that the creaming process, the butter is starting to be incorporated. What I really want to see is the butter like against the sides of the bowl. Sometimes I can't tell if it's done enough creaming unless it's running, and I see it's starting to go against the sides of the bowl right now. I'm going to stop and I'm going to scrape. One thing to remember when you change your recipes to using fresh flour is you often have to adjust your salt. I've had to increase the salt in this recipe from the original recipe, but actually you can taste the salt a lot more, and with a salty chocolate chip cookie, it's pretty magical. So this is how you want the butter to look like. It's all against the sides of the bowl right now. So I'm going to stop and scrape one more time. And go maybe like 2 or 3 more minutes. When making any cookie or creaming process, this is like the magic. This is how your cookie gets developed. You're creating all your sugar and the air from the butter, and yeah, if you don't do this enough, your cookies won't spread. So I'm gonna go a couple more minutes. So it's all against the sides of the bowl right now. I added, I combined the vanilla with the eggs, and you add them one at a time. And then I'm going to stop and scrape again. So after you've added both of your eggs and scraped, I like to let this go about 15-20 seconds till it all gets incorporated and it's smooth. I think of this as like locking in your creaming process. So make sure that it's not that wet. So you've done all the work, or the butter and the sugar has done all the work of creaming, and then you add your eggs, and then you're going to just like lock it in if you want to take a peek at this. So all our dry ingredients are going to just dump them all in. By ratio, there's a lot of chocolate. It's about equal parts to our flour. I feel the uneven pieces just make melt better in the cookie, so I'm just going to combine this completely. I'm going to do it on low speed until it's all wet like this. Notice the freshness just by the color. So what's important to do with cookie dough, but especially this one, but most cookie doughs I feel, is you can take this dough, you can cover it up and you chill it. Make sure that it's, you can do it 1 day in advance, you can do it 2-3 days in advance. We usually make this dough and chill it overnight. So I have some dough that's cold. I feel like if you're investing in good flour and taking your time to make a cookie that's going to be delicious, you need to take your time here too. You need to scoop your cookie. You can be patient with yourself. Scoop all the cookie at once. Scoop all your balls of dough. And then you can chill these. You can chill them on your sheet pan in your freezer if it fits, or you can like find a container that fits in your freezer. Usually just chill them on a sheet pan. And then we go freezer to sheet pan to oven. I suggest you definitely bake these cold out of the refrigerator or out of the freezer, whichever one you prefer. Out of the freezer for our oven, they work great. For the home oven, the refrigerator might be fine. So we started using some fresh flour about a year ago, and then little by little I'm trying to change some recipes to using fresh flour. I find when we start a new recipe, my first thought is to go to fresh flour. But as far as like changing some of your favorite recipes, it's tough. But this one was an easy one. And what we do here at the bakery too is on our signs for the guests, it says what flour it's made with, and we get a lot of really great comments about they love to see that we're using fresh flour, and they love to see that we're using something local. So it's milled in Maine. We get it from one of our suppliers, and by fresh flour, for some of this whole wheat, you really have to keep it, like use it pretty quickly. Usually it has a 3-month shelf life, and that's it. So if you're using like your regular store-bought all-purpose, you don't know when that was milled, you know. Sometimes we get flour that has a date on it of when it was milled, and that's really amazing to see. And again, you can just taste wheat. I feel like with a lot of other regular all-purpose flours, you don't taste wheat, you know. This is especially true in some other breads that are made with fresh flour. We started making our bread that we make every day, which is a za'atar bread with a locally milled flour. And then we started making a blondie with it. We make our summit. So little by little, I'm going to use more and more of the fresh flours. One of the secrets we have, besides that we bake them fresh from the freezer, is sometimes when they come out of the oven, what we'll do is we'll like bang it on the table. I know it's not like the hand banging cookie that's super popular these days that are flat. We don't want it flat, we want it cracked. The Sofra brand idea of the perfect chocolate chunk cookie, it's cracked, it's stayed perfectly round. You can see like some melty chocolate. I'm gonna break it open and you can see inside that the color is gorgeous with this wheat, and you can also see the ratio of chocolate in these. They're pretty amazing. I just started experimenting myself using fresh flour and whole wheat flour, so I'm hoping to learn as much as I can from the grain guide. So thank you guys very much for doing something like that. I think it's going to be important to home cooks and professional cooks too.